In the last Resident Evil video, I covered the rough story of the first outbreak. And we learned that after the Raccoon City incident, more than just the famous heroes escaped. A bunch of unknown civilians made it out too. Working together, they basically ran over hordes of zombies like a war machine. They escaped via the Arkley Mountains, the hospital sewers, and the highway. And they even grabbed a T-virus vaccine that could save the world. Meanwhile, Umbrella, the mastermind behind it all, started collapsing after Raccoon City got nuked. Researchers defected, labs got dismantled, executives got taken down, the whole downfall arc. If you forgot, just go rewatch the previous episode. Alright, when I was making these videos, people kept asking me one thing. Are you ever doing Resident Evil 6? If you do, it'll be super long, right? The reason Eve taken so long is simple. Re 6 is a grand finale kind of story. You need all the previous setup explained first, so rushing it is pointless. And that's also why I shifted the focus back to Raccoon City in the last video. There were a couple reasons. First, if you've played Re 6 and collected the in-game files, you'll notice something really interesting. Every returning character has a background document of their own. And almost all of them start recording from the Raccoon City outbreak. Second, Re 6 director is the same guy who directed Outbreak, Keiichiro Sasaki. Third, the bioterror incidents in Re 6 basically revolve around a second Raccoon City crisis and the slogan Neo Umbrella. So going back to Raccoon City first is just to get everyone mentally ready. In Re 6 story, aside from Claire and Jill, basically every top-tier lead shows up. So to help you jump in faster, this episode is a quick recap of what each major character has been through. First up, Leon S. Kennedy. He first appeared in Resident Evil 2 remakes. Tweak his motives a bit. But he's basically a rookie cop who got forced into becoming a government agent. After that we went through Darkside Chronicles, Resident Evil 4, and the CG films Degeneration and Damnation. Re 6, he's 38. At the end of Redfield, he gets recruited by a US government unit, becoming an agent who answers directly to the president. Then the president's daughter gets kidnapped. So Leon is sent into a remote European village, dives into a plaga-infected nightmare, and wipes out the whole Los Illuminados Koltaka Re 4's plot. Re 6 also has a president, but it's not the same one. This one is Adam Benford, the guy who originally helped Leon become an agent. Back then he was just a high-ranking official, and the two became friends and comrades. They stood on the front line against bioterror together. After becoming president, Benford, Leon, and Ingrid Hunnigan formed a core team called Field Operations Support. Basically a network combining US agents worldwide with back-end intel support, built to handle bioterror getting more and more complex. There's also an agency under the president called SA Division of Security Operations. FOSS is essentially a major component of DSO. Yeah, I know your head's probably spinning already. So here's the simple version. If someone is DSO or FOSS in the game, treat them as the president's agent crew. Second main lead, our old friend Chris Redfield. He's been with us for a long time. Last time we saw him was Re 5 RPG's Weskier straight into a volcano. 1 year later, 2010, Chris, now a PSA executive, interviews new recruits. And he immediately picks out Piers Niven's military grad with insane sniping skills. In later operations, Chris rates Piers extremely highly. He even thinks Piers could take his place someday. But then why, by Resident Evil 7, is Chris still out there leading from the front? Well, talk about that later. Third, since we brought up Piers, let's cover him too. He's a newcomer to the main stage. At age 24, after Chris recruits him in 2010, he shines in the manga Resident Evil, Marhwa Desire. His combat ability is outstanding. A lot of that comes from his family. Pierre's family has been military for generations. He basically grew up knowing he'd join the army. So when Chris personally brought him into PSA North America, it felt unreal to him. Like bro, I'm living the dream. And there's an in-game file that lays out Chris' earlier legend too. At 25, Chris went solo to search for his sister on Rockford Iceland Umbrella facility. That was the famous Code Veronica incident. And he even faced off against Albert Weskier. Like flying fighter jets from pole to pole. Just listen to that resume. Sure, BOWS are terrifying. But honestly, sometimes Chris feels even scarier. No way I could match what he pulled off back then. So Ye's a living legend. But either way, whether as PSA, a soldier, or just a human being, I hope I can become someone like him. 4th, Sherry Birkin. William Birkin's daughter, one of the few survivors of the Raccoon City incident. Both her parents were umbrella researchers at the Raccoon City lab, but they were so obsessed with virus research that they neglected her for years. When the outbreak hit, 12-year-old Sherry got a call to shelter at the RPD. But by the time she arrived, Raccoon City was already hell. Surrounded by zombies and dismembered bodies, she hid all over the station in terror. Thankfully, the story gives her a break when her G-mutated father hunts her. Claire Redfield arrives to find her brother and saves Sherry. Sherry, Claire, and Leon split up and regroup repeatedly while escaping the city. At one point, Sherry falls from a height and blacks out. While unconscious, her G-mutated dad implants a G embryo in her. Her life is on the line. Claire then learns how to make the G-virus vaccine from Sherry's mother. And escapes with Leon on the underground train, vaccine in hand. Sherry grew up without much family love, so after surviving all that, she's unbelievably grateful to the two who saved her. She even treats them as role models. But even after taking the vaccine, and slowly recovering, some traces of G-virus still remained in her body. So the US government locked her up and ran experiments on her for 11 years. And that raises a big question. Being treated like a lab toy for that long. How did she not break mentally? Most people would have gone insane. Capcom's answer is this. During those 11 years, Claire's visits and letters were Sherry's emotional lifeline. On the other hand, by Redfield around 2009, news of Chris killing Albert Weskier reached the top levels of the government. And that's when Sherry's detention order was lifted. Why? Because the two reasons for locking her up changed. First, to study the G-virus inside her and the unique traits it caused. Second, to protect her from Albert Weskier. People who can fully adapt to the G-virus are extremely rare. Sherry was basically the only case. So she needed heavy protection. Now Weskier was dead, and the research was largely done. Her temporary guardian in the lab, Derek C. Simmons, made her an offer. With your special body near limitless regeneration, you'd be wasted as a normal civilian. How about this? I end your confinement, and after training, you become my personal agent. Go save the poor people still living under the shadow of bioterror. Sherry was thrilled. This is basically where she officially debuts as a lead in Re 6. 5th, Jake Muller. People who played Re 6, please don't spoil this part. Jake was born into extreme poverty. His father disappeared early, and his sickly mother raised him alone. In 2006, at 14, Jake joined a mercenary unit in the Republic of Edonia. He was trained under a veteran commander. He finally started earning money, but his mother died from illness. And as he fought day after day, he began to idolize that veteran mentor. Deeply respected him. Then one day in 2009, Jake's unit was sent to South America. That battle nearly wiped them out. Because that mentor turned out to be a long-embedded enemy spy. After that, Jake became cold, only trusted himself and money. In Re-6, he teams up with Sherry. You can call them the superpower duo, or the second-gen virus kids. So who exactly is Jake Muller? Well, find out soon. Sixth lead is also 24-year-old Helena Harper. Orphaned young, she grew up with her sister Deborah. She's very upright. But she's emotional and stubbornly so. As a US agent, she had a good shot at joining DSO and working with Leon. But she got suspended for using excessive force on a suspect. Right after returning, she hears her sister and boyfriend are breaking up, and she storms over and beats the guy badly. Leadership loses faith in her. So they demote her to low-tier support work. A big chunk of Re-6 story starts because of her. 7th, Derek C. Simmons, 46 years old. He was Sherry's temporary guardian during her confinement. His day job is presidential aide and national security advisor. The missile strike plan that erased Raccoon City in Re-3. He proposed it. Wild, right? But to him personally, Raccoon City became a case study he kept using throughout his political career. He believed bioweapons would replace conventional weapons. So he wanted everything about bioweapons kept on paper, hidden from the public, burying the truth at all costs. So he stirred up the president and the hardliners in government and launched the sterilization operation. On the surface, he looks like a loyal subordinate to the president. His true identity is the leader of the family. A ridiculously wealthy shadow group. With a global, top-tier intelligence network. The kind of nameless power that can steer world affairs from behind the curtain. As the newest leader of the family, Simmons would do absolutely anything to maintain the unchanging world order they believe in. And that unchanging world order basically means, the US stays on top of the world. Man, that's pretty wild. Next, Ada Wong. You need to introduce her. I'm sure a lot of you are curious about this mysterious woman in red. But have you noticed something? Whether it's CG films or games, when Leon appears, Ada appears. And when Leon's not around, she basically disappears too. Capcom may have built them as an intentional shift. And while we're on that, think about this. Which major characters have basically never shared the stage? Like Leon and Chris, you never see them together in any game before Re-6. Or Leon and Wesker. They've heard of each other and admired each other from afar but never truly fought face to face. Now that Wesker's dead, fans can only see matchups like that in a crossover fighting game. There are tons of little stories like this. I'll do a dedicated episode later. Alright, after the key characters, let's talk about the C virus in Re-6. From the files you collect in the game, you learn this. They extracted the T strain they needed and combined it with the T Veronica virus. But here's the thing, once T Veronica is injected into a person, you either freeze them long-term to reach a stable symbiosis, code Veronica, or you're filthy rich and keep replacing organs to avoid mutation, Darkside Chronicles. The new T2 virus solved that problem, meaning it can mutate the whole body rapidly, while still preserving the host's consciousness, making them usable on the battlefield. And if you combine T2 with the G virus, known for limitless mutation potential, you get the most powerful virus imaginable. And the only stable G virus sample still existing in the world is inside Sherry Birkin. And wouldn't you know it, Simmons is Sherry's guardian. So everything lines up, and the C virus officially enters the stage. The C comes from the English word chrysalida, cocoon. So in the game, infected victims go through a break out of the cocoon process before turning into full monsters.
These C virus creatures also split into injection type and infection type.
The details will explain properly when we get into the game. Alright, that's the mini Re6 prologue for now. Please remember what we covered. Once the main story starts, you'll get lost instantly otherwise.